FNATIC Talon is ready. So we're going to just recap things, put everything back in your mind, and ready up for that game. There it is. FNATIC versus Talon. It was postponed, but the issues are no more. Alfama is in, and we should be ready to talk about what this game has to offer. Let's refresh you with the map ban, because we've already gone through that. And it's going to be a very quick one. The lobby's ready. We already talked about things plenty before. It's just to get you back into form.
Big thing to note, probably storyline with them going back to Chalet for the 4th time. They just are going to continue this. It seems they want to keep going to their strategies, and I think Mirror Ban will be the big story point. Lusty being in for Mentalist is also another huge storyline, so do not worry if you see Lusty in the lobby rather than Mentalist. What do I think that's going to do? I think that's going to cripple the Space Makers on the side of FNATIC, and this will give Talon a pretty good opportunity.
That's the key word, opportunity. Is the opportunity for Talon. They've got VODs on FNATIC. They know how FNATIC play with mirror, without mirror. I would suggest they'll probably ban away the mirror. I would expect it. And then with the sub, they've got the opportunity to win. It's just whether they can produce it on the day as a team performance.
Let's see how it goes. Of course, unexpected map-wise. You can say the same for a roster change. So let's hope that Mentalist is, also relaxing and ready. We don't want him to hurt himself because, hey, they say we only talk about it in sports when it comes to like injuries, but in esports, injuries are very common and they can ruin your career. They really push you back quite a bit. So be very careful even when you're playing at home. Ergonomics for your setup is very important. I did a whole paper about it. And that was a fun
Get better, Mentalist.
There you go. Fresh Chest, thank you very much. Very quick here to get into game. It's Talon versus FNATIC, and we're going to go to a 4th Chalet. It's the French Alps, and we got Ace and that's take us through it. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Milosh. All this chat about injuries, Ace. We were watching that last game, and I forget the play, but me and Jess sat there, and someone like flicked their hand across the desk, and we're like, wow, that's just risk on until next week. It's very real. It was Katsang, there you go.
1v1 down in basement.
Shock horror, you know
it was 1v2 at the time.
Shock horror, you know which down one Kira player it was as well.
Who'd have thought it?
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? Well, Chalet, again, we go into one of my favourite maps to see at the minute. I keep on saying it, and I'm still not bored of it, because the map is generally quite linear and easy to perceive what's going on, what teams are trying to employ. And you're going to have all eyes set on Talon on their attacks here, coming up against what you would probably call a weakened FNATIC. But let's not forget that Lusty is by no means a bad player. He's been part of FNATIC for a long time, a very capable player. And I'm excited to see what he also brings to the team today, how unpredictable he might make FNATIC for Talon.
I'll tell you what, FNATIC are going to be laughing if they have to go to the playoffs, Des. If they don't get that top spot and automatically go through to the major. And even I could even extend that and actually say they're going to be laughing at the major if they do automatically get there, because all teams are going to have seen is them play on Chalet.
Guess what the Permagan's going to be at the major? Chalet! Hide it away until the best of threes will probably be a good part of that. We'll look at the bands coming through. The Sledge is the first one that we've seen kind of growing, especially in Europe. The nades, players like Benjamaster using it an awful lot is always the one. The Flores, very powerful on this map, as we have seen a number of times. And the Mirror Ban, as predicted by Fresh, is going to come through as well by Talon against FNATIC, which leaves our final one most likely to be something like a Mirror Fresh. Ace. You can go away. Just get the headset to Fresh. I'll take him.
Wishful thinking. You're not getting rid of me that easily, Des. Before the final ban comes in.
Clearly can't get the man out of my head, apparently.
Apparently not. I mean, I don't know whether to feel insulted about that or not. Look, you're with me, you're thinking about Fresh.
Well, we tied the knot at the back end of last year, so don't worry. It's not that easy to get rid. I have to go through a whole legal process. It's a bit too heavy, a bit too much.
Very true. You are stuck with me. Getting into round one then, it looks like FNATIC are stuck with Chalet, and that's exactly where we're going to be going again. They love those French Alps. You just can't keep them away. And this time they're going to be facing off against Talon. Talon will start things out for us on the attack. They have banned the mirror out as expected. It is a big part of FNATIC's defences here on Chalet. We've seen Mag using those mirror windows particularly well. Not always playing mirror himself, but just again using that gadget, that utility to absolute maximum effect. So we'll see how FNATIC cope not only without mirror but without Mentalist as well. As we can see, top of your screen in the middle there, Lusty joins us as Mentalist has suffered an unfortunate injury to his tailbone, his coccyx, as it's as it's also known. So it's meaning that he's struggling to sit down at the minute.
He did put up a hilarious picture on Twitter
did.
of how he would have had to play if they couldn't get the issues sorted. He'd like pulled his bed in front of his desk and was like kneeling on it and leaning forward at the same time. I tell you what, it might have not done his tailbone some good, but his back would have been ruined after that game. Not only because actually, like in the real world, he would have been leaning weirdly, but also we know what he's like. A bit of a powerhouse in the server as well, Ace.
If you're watching Mentalist, we hope that you are back to health soon and back with us. Best wishes. Hope that that's all a quick recovery for you and you can get back to playing as soon as possible. Now then, we're going to be getting into the action phase here. Top floor is going to be our first defence for FNATIC. Master and Office. The big question, of course, always for the attackers is which side are they going to attack? Is it going to be a Solarian push, or are we going to be heading into the southwest corner and trying to get control of Library and Mezzanine? If they do that, then it's a case of opening the wall that was just at the bottom of your screen or from the Office balcony through into Office. If not, it's a case of trying to get inside a master bedroom, keep the defenders out of bathroom and get that diffuser down, whichever side you choose to attack.
You look back at Talon's last game against Mantis on Oregon just last week, and the big theme for them, as it has been for a couple of teams here in APAC North, has been pace. They'd leave things down to the last 10 seconds, they'd push in, they'd team kill each other, there'd be all kinds of chaos going off. So time is the big issue, it seems, for these lower level teams right now. T1, another team that I'd also throw in that mix at points. So what I really want to see coming out of Talon here is some good coordination. This is generally considered an attacker-leaning map. The stats themselves don't really suggest that all that heavily, but hey, we'll go with whatever the common convention is in this case and pray that it sticks. Either way, they've got the opportunity to do some magic here and show that they can improve and can put themselves in good stead, knowing that it's the bottom two teams who have to fight out for relegations.
Canos might just found himself walking into an angle here, but the yellow ping tells me that he knows that it's there. It's being watched by Lusty on the Wamai, and Lusty could find himself coming out with a tough first round here. They see the opportunity. Up goes the nade. It's going to clear out the decoy from the alibi, but nothing else. Lusty goes for it, but shut down by Canos on the reverse. Kills are raining in Des. Left, right, centre. Difficult to keep track, but ultimately we find ourselves shaking down to Talon. 3 versus 2. They come out with the advantage on the attack. It's all down to Mag and Alpha, and they've got a long time to survive here, especially with Mag on low health.
That's the scariest thing, right? It was the mid part of the round, but there's a lot of experience looking towards a player like Alfama here, and Mag equally has been on this FNATIC roster for what feels like the day he came out the womb. Looking towards the north side, though, is going to be the point of push coming in for Talon. A couple of players hanging out inside of Solar, and of course they've got to deal with all these delay tactics coming out, the goo mines, the smokes, everything coming in from the remaining defenders, and they're slowly pulling themselves back down south. But I imagine here to contest a slightly longer angle would the plant attempt come in from Talon inside of bedroom.
That's exactly it. Alphamus just wanting to keep himself hanging back. He's got one Toxic Babe canister left, so he can burn a good 10 to 15 seconds of the time that is left. It's something that Talon just need to be aware of. He's actually pushed himself up. He's going to try to take the kill onto the man coming in, but can't hit him on the rappel with that SMG-11 recoil, just making things a little bit difficult. Now Mag has just got himself hidden away in the closet there. There's 2 inside of the bathroom, and don't know whether he's got an opportunity to just push through here and make a nuisance of himself. Alphama's going to get caught out. It's too easy as he leaves his legs trailing, and it's all up to Mag now. 5 seconds left to go. Heady starts to get that diffuser down, and can he play upset here?
No!
Yes, he thought he had done it. He pops around the corner at almost the perfect time, Des, but it wasn't perfect because there was time left for the trade to come in, and Talon managed to cling on to that round.
Bloody close is what my notes for that round are reading as well, because if he timed that, say, half a second later, he probably gets away with that swing the kill and also keeps himself alive. A nail-bitingly close round, and one that I think you'll look at and again be asking questions. Talon in a 3 versus 2 with 90 seconds to play, yet it comes down to literally a 0-0-0 swing coming out of Mag that fortunately they are there and ready to trade for. A bit of a scrappy first round, but it's still a round on the board for Talon, something that we said we need to see from them on the attack so far today. Now we step down into kitchen and dining for site number 2 and see what FNATIC can do to correct the errors of last round, because losing those 3 members at the 90-second mark, it's a little bit early to be losing the majority of your teammates.
It is, absolutely it is. And with the man so close to the door frame there as well, what a tough finish from Mag. It was certainly a great effort. Going to be heading into round 2 then. FNATIC are going to drop themselves down a level. They're not going to go back to Master and Office. It's going to be Kitchen and Dining this time around. Try and get things locked down on the bottom floor instead, or the mid floor actually. They're not all the way down in the basement. It's going to be largely the same defence. They will have themselves established up in Master and Office. They'll try and keep hold of that for as long as possible, but with slightly less utility this time, because of course they do need the utility on the downstairs as well. They've just reinforced off Office wall, or that is ongoing. They'll also have the wall between the main lobby and the dining room will be reinforced as well. There you go. So that's going to be a focal point for the attackers. Talon are likely to get in there and try to get that breached. Now, they've only got Hede with Hibana as a hard breacher, so they're going to have to make the choices here, Des. They can breach that office wall, they can breach the main lobby wall, but with the X-Kairos, they're a little bit limited as to the spaces that they can actually manufacture in those reinforcements.
You say all that, but looking at the fact 3 of them are spawning up towards the north side here and they want to get control of Solo suggests they don't really want to invest all that much on the top floor. Enough to force these members down. They don't want to open those walls going out onto Mez. Those hard breaches will be saved, likely for the actual site walls from lobby later into the round. That is, of course, assuming that Talon want to play for the rotates and aren't instead looking for the Hibana just for the hatch, for example, to make it a little bit more risky. But a push down through Trophy as well as a hatch drop into Kitchen seems like a pretty viable play. But this one player currently hanging out behind the shield, it is Tex playing on the Jaeger. He's going to be the bee in their bonnet here. He's got ADSs, they've got the laser gate, they've got a shield, they've got so much to deal with it, and you can hear more and more nades being slapped away, and the laser gates are reactivated. Couldn't be much worse. Another one gets eaten out. They are just throwing utility away here, Ace, and this is going to be a kicker because now they're completely out of frag grenades.
I've heard at least 4 or 5 throwables taken out there. There was obviously a couple sent in to try and deal with the ADSs and then a frag nade follow, but that was taken down. And then, as you say, by the time the laser gates were reactivated, the ADSs had started to reactivate and picked up more throwables. So Tex, he's going to stay in position, and that is a real play from FNATIC to keep him locked in there. 1 minute 20 and Talon not even established inside of the map yet.
Absolutely not. I mean, Tex is still holding firm right now. Finally, the scoring is open at about 1 minute 50 into the round. So it has been slower than the previous, and it's Lusty being picked up at about that 145 mark. Sorry, the 149 mark, I should say, distance into the round. It is the Aruni. The gadget's, of course, already deployed, so one of those ones that you don't mind losing too much. It's a little bit like the Jaeger. But on the rest now, it comes down to how well they can hold fire. Soldier almost losing his life and somehow still wins against Stigs. That should be a fight that is won by FNATIC every day of the week.
That's absolutely right, Des. There's no way that Soldier should be walking away with his life there. Canos just walking across the top floor now and slaying at will as he takes Tex down, and that leaves us now with 33 seconds left to go and only 2 FNATIC players left. And again, it's Mag and Alphama that are left to try and mop up the mess, Des, that has been left behind by those early kills. It's 2 versus 5. I'm pretty sure that they know of Alphama's location here, and yes, another fight that shouldn't be lost. Alphama sees the man first, but Canos able to get him on the reverse angle. 1 versus 5 now. It's all down to Mag and Hede. He's getting that diffuser down once again, doing a great job of that so far. Mag, he finds one with a nice kill onto Soldier, but they know where he's coming from now, and that death is worth it just for the information that it gives. Angles will be held. Mag, he's walking into a massive crossfire. It's Canos to shut him down. 3 on the round, I believe, for Canos. Yep. And a good performance from Talon.
Canos got the final kill as well.
Yes.
4K in the round for Canos then, yeah. Big round coming out of him. But we said it as well throughout the round. There were at least 2 fights in that round that should not be lost by FNATIC. Stigs is one coming through. Alphama with the man not even looking at him. And look, I ain't using this as full justification in future race. We've seen Alphama take 2 SMG-11 fights in these rounds, and he has lost both. MP5K Superior or FMG every day of the week.
Only if there's a shotgun on the team, Des.
Yeah, what about Rooney?
We've discussed this.
What about Rooney?
Well, there's not always a Rooney when you bring me out.
True. I do play Rooney normally. Although I think, as Fresh put it, really, and a Rooney you can get away with when there's 1 or 2 rotates. To make any more than that, you're pushing the boat out then. Unless you're like hyper efficient, you can get away with the 4-punch, like whole rotates, but outside of that, you're probably chancing it a bit too much.
It always panics me when it's just the 4-punch rotate, because I get up to it and I think that looks awfully small. If I've got to get through that quickly, that looks awfully small.
Crouch you can get through, mate. You'll be all right.
Heading into round 3 we go. It's going to see FNATIC going to another site once again. This time it's going to be Bar and Gaming, and still yet to get a defensive site over the line. It's not the end of the world. We do see a bit of an advantage to the attackers here on Chalet, so Talon pretty much par for the course at the minute, but FNATIC, they need to find themselves at least 2 defences in my mind if they want any opportunity to come through and take the lion's share of the points out of this game, because if not, if they find themselves 5-1 or worse behind at the half, then I think Talon probably close that out, especially with that absence of Mentalist, and as Jess quite rightly pointed out, the difficulty that they might have without sort of that space-making ability.
Indeed, another Northside start, at least for Demic. Not the whole team stacking up here this time round, but of course has support from the trusty support in Heady with the plant in the last round. We mentioned earlier on about their limited number of hard breaches, one that they're clearly not too fussed about, that Hibana doing enough for them. It does afford them a lot more in the way of dealing with the potential roam game coming out of FNATIC. And I remember saying about FNATIC early in the stage, they can be absolute demons on this map on the defensive side, where players like Alfama would play things like the mirror and just disappear into the basement late in the round and come up and flank a team. With this onside, it gives them a bit more control, and here's Tech springing his way forwards. 2 kills come through for FNATIC out of no. That's a very, very deep run out, my friend. I think that was a jump out, and somehow gets away with it. That's okay, unexpected is the only way I can describe it.
It was a long way out of safety there, but still got away with it. I believe the default camera was still active and probably feeding a bit of information there as well to help that situation. Stiggs find Aziz, and all of a sudden it starts to fall apart for Talon Des. They just tried to rush inside of the map through Solar and were absolutely decimated as they did, and they find themselves at the halfway mark now in a 1 versus 5. Soldier with it all to do. He's going to come around this corner to a man. He does catch Stiggs in the back, but with a deployable shield in front of him, you say that all the advantage lies with Tex here. He's not going to push this. He's going to force Soldier to play into him, but if he keeps biting like this, he's going to take the chip damage, and it mounts up to a death ultimately. 1 versus 3 still.
Time.
To say it's a lot of work, but there is time to do it.
There is a lot of time still to work with here. Yeah.
And Mag's low health.
I don't buy the Soldier can get away with it, because equally he's 40 HP. You know, from most guns in near range, that will see him dead, but in a spot where potentially the longer range fights, he might be able to tank a couple and still get away alive. I'm just nervous without thinking, well, as the clock ticks down, that shan't be the case. But it was the kind of proactive action coming out of FNATIC, Tex charging forward that really got the round going. And you see now things have kind of transpired from there. One that FNATIC will look back on, no doubt, and say those 2 kills really should have had going our way as well. But at least it's going to be a round on the board for them, assuming Soldier, of course, can't pull off an absolute miracle here in the dying 35 seconds.
It's the default cam down in the main lobby, but the information likely already passed. They will know exactly where he is, and FNATIC playing this very, very cautiously here and smartly, just holding their angles. They're on the defence. The clock is in their favour, and there is absolutely no need for them to peek anything here. They can just wait for Soldier to play it into their lines of sight, and that's exactly what's going to happen in a second. You hear the rip of the nitro there. Out it comes, detonated. Is not going to find the kill, but it's not going to matter, as Mag will do that through the rotation, and that is going to be FNATIC taking their first defensive round of what needs to be a minimum of 2 for me on this half.
I think you're probably going for 3 and 3 at the split, if you're FNATIC at the very least, and you're thinking about the victory in the second half. But a better round in the outcome, I wouldn't say in terms of the play. It's more capitalising on small errors made by Talon, which in itself is a skill. Identifying that the default cam was still up, feeding the information on who was out on the rappel, and Mag making full use of that. So a good round for FNATIC, a little bit sloppy from Talon at points is what ultimately has cost them that one. We'll now see if the trend can continue as we go back upstairs, as we were in round 1, into Master and Office.
Always baffles me when the default cameras get left up at this level. It's just become so habitual. I know it can be easy if you're, aware of things like spawn peaks. You start off the beginning of the round and you've got your ADS focus. You don't want to be distracted by a default cam and getting hit from one of those windows. But as soon as you get to the building line and you know that you're safe, you got to take the default cams out. They've played these maps hundreds, if not thousands of times. It's just got to be part of that initial process.
What I will give is it's one of those ones where, when you sit down and draw out a approach to attacking a site, attack tends to be a bit more fluid than defenses in the first place. So when you're thinking, right, someone else is dealing with that for me, it's not a problem, I'm focusing on this. You don't quite go through and say, right, Ace, your job is to kill this default cam, and at this time you move to that spot on the map and you start doing this. You have a bit more loose, kind of free-flowing structure to it, and you can see there small things will occasionally get missed out, even if it is one of those cams that can very comfortably be shot out from the campfire spawn. Either way, let's see how things now start to progress forwards here. Looking at the change coming in for Talon, by the way, a small, very small tweak. It is
easy.
Heady. Okay, I mean, you'll take it. It wasn't the Heart Breach. I was going to say Heady's the one on the Thermite here rather than the Hibana. But a trade coming through. Not a bad start for Talon, even if you have lost one of your early members.
No, Talon well aware of the danger there. Styx did well to still get himself one, and Zofia does bring some important utility with those concussive and explosive grenades, particularly. So that will be a little bit of a loss. Also likely, I imagine, I think will be the soft breach on the side of Zofia as well. So their vertical capability, not really necessary here as they are attacking onto Master and Office. So not the end of the world, and Canos, he's going in very confidently there. No surprise, as he's had a great game so far, and it was actually, no, it's the Claymore that was brought along by Soldier, I think, rather than the soft breach, which is on the side of Demic. So not too much of a loss, really, like you say, with that early kill, and you've got to say that Talon have come out the better here.
They have so far, yeah. I mean, look at Canis especially, right? He's sat there with 8 kills to his name across 4 rounds. Pretty ludicrous and having a considerable impact. Mag not doing too bad himself at 6-2 on the other side, but all eyes are on the man on your screen right now and what he can do on the attack. Droning his way up here inside the piano to make sure there isn't anyone present that needs nading or needs clearing out. And from there can look to move their way up, unfortunately losing his drone at the last second, mind you. So it is going to be this slower point in the mid-round for Talon that we are very used to seeing, where they will run the clock down quite a fair chunk. At least here, they're also getting the main breach open at the same time. So there are a couple of points of focus on the go, even if for Demic, and as is at the minute, there's still kind of a, well, what are we doing now? What's our focus? Yeah,
not in a terrible position at the minute, Heady. He's just waiting out there for his opportunity to go in and get that diffuser down. They need to be very aware of Mag underneath, though, because you can see that some of the flooring just near that default plant site has been opened up, so there is a potential for Mag to challenge from underneath. They also, of course, need to move Lusty out from playing in behind that half wall and desk, which is exactly where he's rooted himself for the time being. Now, Mag has moved up onto the top floor, so that is at least one problem partially dealt with for Talon. The opportunity may be there to get themselves in and get this diffuser down, as Mag finds himself down, but not out at the moment. What a great aggressive kill from Lusty there, stepping up onto the breach and finding the headshot onto Demic, just looking to keep challenging. He's flashed out at the minute, but looks like he will survive that passage of play, but no, Heady moves in and takes things into his own hand, and all of a sudden Talon just collapse on top of FNATIC. They just run all over them and close out the round.
Mag being down on the rotate there was the domino that led to the, well, domino effect of knocking everything else over in turn, because there was no additional cover for the Aruni playing up against a half wall. If you have him still alive there, you can cover things like piano door. You can send out peek out to go for the trade coming through onto the balcony doorway. But with just the one man present there, holding down against flashes and all the other pressure coming in, unfortunately, there wasn't really much else to be said for that one, but a good push in from Heady to pick up the kill inside of Office and make sure the rest flowed the way of Talon very comfortably. 3-1 to the Korean team now. Not a scoreline we expected necessarily coming into today. And I don't want to turn around and say, oh, it's on Lusty coming in, because he's played that as well as he could there. It's everything else around it that, you know, is going against the way of FNATIC so far. They've only really had the jump out round that has gone their way. Everything else is very convincingly Talon's.
Certainly is. There's, like you say, it's just been, you've got to almost discount a round like that. If you're going to have, you know, that sort of aggression into Solarium early on that was dealt with by FNATIC and then a big jump out, you've got to say it's not a round that you're going to win time and time again. So FNATIC, they're going to change things up again, head back downstairs, this time to Kitchen and Dining. 2 defensive rounds left for them, but it is certainly looking wobbly, and especially when you pile on top of the Damwon Kia result in the last Playday days. FNATIC, I'm not going to say not looking good, but it's not going to be straightforward to get into the major spots either.
Definitely making it hard on yourself. And FNATIC, it feels like they've avoided the limelight for so long now. They're a team that we've always spoke about, you know, will they reclaim the throne? Will they step back up to be a top competing team in the region? And it's been a year and a half now since we've been having that kind of conversation and just haven't really seen it happen. So hopefully this isn't the time where it all sort of falls off the rails towards the back end of the stage. It would be the worst time. Do want to touch on the slight changes coming in for Talon in this round, mind you. Making sure they've got themselves, I thought I was going to say it's 9 flashes, no, but it is only the 6 coming through to help them try and clear out Tex, I think, towards the north side. That being said, they aren't pushing up towards the north this time. They said, right, forget about Tex. He was a nightmare for us with the laser gates, the shields, the ADS, all that utility stacked on the north side. Why don't we just attack from the south? And it appears to be that Library is going to be their point of ingress here. It's where they want to start and work their way north side. Makes a lot of sense.
Stig's just playing inside a split, going to rotate himself through bar, just trying to make it difficult for them to enter into library, but decides that his race is run there and just dips away from that fight. So that should pretty much free Talon up to get themselves established now. And of course, Canos in at mezzanine will not have helped Lusty stay in place. And Aziz, he helps him even less as he manages to find the opening kill onto the man.
Yeah, not the best start there as well. You want to be keeping him alive for a little bit longer than that, mind you. However, if he gets the kill, suddenly it is a very different conversation that we're having. And as I said before, the man going down is the Aruni, the one whose gadgets have already been deployed. The bulletproofs are down. The laser gates themselves are down. Not that Talon care about those, as their focus is entirely on the south side. Looking to now get control of Piano and start pushing their way forward to get the vertical control they need for sight. I expect we'll see Heady move down below and start looking as well to get the wall opened up.
Mag's just going to drop the rotation into basement, try and maybe work a flank, and it's that sort of action that I think that FNATIC do need here, Des. They need something unpredictable. That's when we saw them win the round, but right now, Aziz, he manages to predict the movement of Tex and picks up the man at the bottom of the trophy stairs. Stigs, he will trade that out, so that keeps FNATIC fighting, but not ideal as he tries to pressure onto the top floor, and Soldier, he's ready and waiting for it and shuts the man down. 4 versus 2 in favour of Talon now, and they're in danger of running away with things here. It's again all left to Alphama and Mag. How many times am I going to say that? This is the 3rd round that they've found themselves in a negative situation. 2 versus 4 now. Canos just holding the tight angle there in towards the top of West Main, and he's just going to hold that man at bay.
Just waiting to see if anyone comes dropping through as well. Nice angle. Oh, and a great shot coming out of Alphama onto Heady's head. What more he presses into, though, the 3 versus 2, 25 seconds to play. That is not a ton of time for Talon, and we know how slow they've been before. We've seen them in this 3 versus 2 situation and really want to get these players cleared out of West Main. But Mag is still holding firm. They've got the default cam that can see over the top and see when the vault comes through. They must know the man's inside here. It's going to be a freebie coming in for Mag. No, Mag, what are you doing? No.
That... Matt, you can see it on Mag's face. It happens. Look, look, we all need to move on. It happens. He's just reacted. He's just seen the body shape there. He's flick. I mean, it was a nice flick. I'll give him that. But it wasn't ideal at the time.
No, don't say it was a nice flick.
It was. It's just not ideally what you're looking for. The kill on.
He's like hovered on his head for half a second and then left clicked.
Des, I'm trying to help him out here.
Don't.
Right, Talon, they take another round. It's 4-1 now, and FNATIC, they really look like they're struggling, and obviously the roster element is going to be a part of that. They've looked good, apart from last Playday against Damwon Kia. They really have looked good in the current iteration and have been really gathering some momentum, so having that switch-up of players again certainly isn't going to help anything. But right now, I can't put it all down to that either, Des. You know, Talon are coming in and winning these rounds. You got to give them that. They're winning the gunfights. Mag's killing his own men. You know, it's...
They've converted him. There's some
that's not down to Mentalist not being here.
The propaganda machine's on the go, that's it. Come on, Mag, you know you want to join the team. Let's put a couple of bullets into your own teammates after you've been done carrying them for the first half so far, because, again, looking up and down the list, Alphama, that nice little shot onto Heady, the only one that he's got so far in the game. Lusty and Tex sat at 1 apiece, despite Tex having that spot behind the shield up to the north. Really, it's the Stigs and Mag show right now, and Jess said it on the pre-show at the start of the day, you know, we can't keep on talking about these teams that have 1 star player. Maybe in other games you can get away with it. Siege isn't really a game where you can get away with that sort of thing, and it will start drawing questions from some people off. You know, if Mentalist isn't here, have they still got the firepower to come away with these big results? Because the one thing that leaves with Mentalist is the space creator on this team.
This is it. I think they do have the firepower. I think the fact that Mag is, doing as well as he is today, if you add Mentalist into that equation straight away, you're not a 1-person team. You've got those, multiple players with that ability. We know how well Tex can do. We've not really seen it this stage, but Tex can be an absolute gunner on his day as well. So I think FNATIC will be fine. They just need to find their rhythm, and to find the rhythm, they need to have the same roster lining up regularly.
I feel like there's a couple of tweets going on as well, because Lusty, obviously, Mentalist doesn't really play in these hyper-supportive roles like Lusty is right now on the mute. Alphama's the one stepping into the more aggressive ones on things like the Melusa here and playing this outfield role in a sense, or more of a perimeter role rather than a super aggressive one. But it is leading to a couple of changes in who's playing what role in the team, and that in itself does force a little bit of adaptation. As he's in, finding one onto Mag here from below on the Nomad, and that already is yet another opener going the way of the side of Talon.
It is, and that's something that Talon have done very, very well here. They've taken full advantage advantage, as you say, of this rotation. There's of FNATIC having to mix up their positions, maybe not play their preferred or usual roles, and TALON right now, they are the benefactors. 5 versus 3 as they come in. Can't take the Guman out, so we'll have to hop back out of the window and just take that one out of the leg to allow that freedom of movement and prevent any damage coming in. Stigs will miss the drone there, so the information will continue to rain in for TALON. Just over the halfway mark, and something that's impressed me, Des, is how quickly TALON are playing here. Very quick, very decisive, getting in there, getting kills, and just moving very, very fast.
It is the mid-round where they start to stall out, like about here, as they start thinking about the execute. That seems to be their kind of point of uncertainty. The early round of getting in the building, I absolutely agree with you, looks good. It's just the later stages that might need a little bit more refinement for them to really step up the table moving forwards into the next few play days. I mentioned about Alfama being the one who loves playing down in the basement. That's exactly what he's doing here. So you're counting massively on Azzy to have a couple of air jabs down to make sure they're covered off as Stiggs move his way down back towards blue stairs, looking in towards the basement just to contest the man coming up through mud potentially as Alfama finds himself looking inside a lobby.
Couple of big flank positions here for FNATIC. They need one of them to pay off as Lusty just tries to hold things down inside a split. Hetty has got himself inside of the default plant spot, but he's going to need a bit of support if he's able to get that diffuser down. Out comes the Nitro, but it's been shot out. That gives Hetty the opportunity. The utility has been burnt now then. They'll be aware of Alfama's presence. Hetty pops up and gets Lusty out of split. That's going to give him everything he needs to get this diffuser down. Difficult now for FNATIC to challenge onto this. If Alfama pushes across the crossfire from Muddy, and no, he gets away with it, but it's Hetty who pops up and finds the kill. Stiggs drops meanwhile, and that's going to be TALON taking another round 5-1, and it looks like it could be another short order for FNATIC.
This could turn out to be a very quick game if it carries on this way. You know, 5 rounds out of 6 is amazing for TALON on the attacking side. The one little bit of lean I will give for FNATIC as a possibility is on the attacking side, you are more in control of the pace of things, and if they're being a bit caught out on timing here, this is a great opportunity to get a little bit of a reset. Lusty standing in, we'll move over onto the Finker. So either the Yana or the Finker, it's kind of the two we'll see playing out in a very similar role right now, given there's the Gon 6, there's the nades, decent primaries, so on and so forth. The list tends to build itself up. But this first defensive round will be very telling for me as to whether or not it's TALON walking away with an absolute sweep over FNATIC, or if we've got a real game on our hands.
This is it. This round for me is really pivotal. Coming in, FNATIC have to just come out with a message here that attack is going to be different for them, and they're going to come out and win rounds and really stake a claim for this one. But I'm just not sure if they're going to have it in them. They're going to be coming up against what I would suggest is going to be a reasonably organised TALON here. We've got Frost on side with Canos, double Frostmat inside of that double window to prevent access into the double plant spot. Need to be aware of that. It could well be that one of those nades gets used to go in there and clear it out, but they need to think about the nades on the shield up at the top there, and with only 2 on side, it could be a scarce utility that they could do with a little bit more of on the side of FNATIC.
Absolutely. Well, it looks
they
like
do have the soft breach of Ash though. That could clear the shield, I suppose.
Yeah, to some level for sure. I think it's more comfort for Stiggs as well. He is quite a renowned Ash player in the region, or at least known for playing it, so yep. We'll see what damage you can do with that over something like the Zofia instead. But FNATIC has mentioned it's all about how this round plays out for me to give a sign as to whether or not it's going to be a quick and easy one, a 7-1, 7-2 sort of affair, or if it's going to drag on a fair whack longer. On the defensive side, there is a lot of information to know. A great way to limit a team that is no doubt relying on being reactive to what it is they come across. You know, FNATIC, quite a structured team, will adapt to what they encounter in the field. Best way to deny that, kill drones, deny drones, do everything you can to slow them down as much as you can.
Stiggs just holding the upside down rappel, looking for an angle inside of the map, try and find anything he can, get them a good start. Just going to take a little bit of utility out as he passes there. Aziz is aware of his position now and just putting a few warning shots out through the office balcony window there, just to try and let the Ash know that it's not going to be all their way. FNATIC looking to push aggressively into library here. Soldier on the mezzanine is in an important position, going to have to drop away now surely as the X-Kairos pellets open that wall, and that's exactly what we see happen. Alfama, he starts things out with a kill onto Hetty, and that is a rarity for FNATIC here, an opening kill. Alfama taking big damage and being shut down though, leveled out at 4-4 as he's getting the trade.
Yeah, not too bad to bring it back at that point, but it's a good kill coming in from Alfama regardless. The man steps out for the C4 and it's an easy shutdown. Shot from the bathroom window by Canos. That's not one you'll expect, given the site that we're currently playing is bar and gaming, but he pulls it off. And again, this is where the punishment of relying heavily on information may come back to bite you. We stand 4 versus 3, the 4 versus 2. Canos again going absolutely nuclear in the server in this matchup. What more can he do in the 4 versus 2? Well, shut down FNATIC's dreams might appear to be the answer.
Mag just hunting for the time being to try and find anybody he can, but the diffuser is down cold. There's 1 minute 10, so time is certainly still available for FNATIC to do something here, but they must be getting exhausted nowadays. It must really be taking its toll, constantly being in these 2v4, 3v5 situations, playing at a deficit over and over again. Now, clearing out as much utility as they can is all well and good, and it does support the attack, but it's not going to get them the round in the bag. Ultimately, they're going to have to go and find kills. Now, Mago is aware that he's being approached here. Can he find the first? No, the crouch position from Canos just foxing Mag as he manages to hit the headshot. Tex, he gets Demic to at least keep the ratio the same. 1 versus 3 now instead of 2 versus 4, but still a big ask here with 20 seconds left to go.
Not much more to be said here. Yeah, Tex is going to have to pull off something magical in the next 15 seconds or so. Bearing in mind as the attacker, he has to make the moves, but 3 kills in 15 feels a little bit impossible. Has the right idea. Man steps inside the site. There's one more behind the bomb site as well. Sees it coming through, but the swing comes in from Soldier. Canos' killing spree will be ended at just 3 in the round, but it's another going the way of Talon. Match point now, Ace. They're sat at 6-1.
You got to say at this point, I mean, in Siege it is never too far gone. Even at 6-0, teams can and do sometimes pull it back, but with the way things are going for FNATIC right now, do I believe that they're capable of that today? I've got to say, no, unfortunately I don't, because Talon have got the run of them at the minute, and even though they've switched on to the defence, Talon have been able to keep that momentum, that pace, that just absolute deadliness about them in the gunfights, just able to get in and win everything. You can just see that they're on top of their opponent here, and they're just pummeling FNATIC right now.
I don't want to say there's no aspect to this game that really comes down to the strats or the tactical side, because absolutely there is as well, but we've seen continuously in every single round gunfights being lost by FNATIC that on a different day you take a coin flip to say which way does this one go, and they'd have had a better outcome. But when it's Canos on fire like he is so far today, Soldier playing well, same can be said for Azzy when it comes around to the gunfights. You know, look down the other side, the only person who's positive here is Mag, and still Lusty not really involved in the game. Tex has been quiet so far. Alfama, similar story. They're just not switched on today the way that they usually are, Tim.
No, that's the reality, and you know, I'm sure that there is, you know, reasonable explanations for that, and it could well be the disruption with the roster change and everything else, but the top and bottom of it is, Des, it doesn't matter what the reason is. You know, ultimately the points will not go on the leaderboard, and that is the bottom line. And Talon, they're going to be not the only team rubbing their hands here of having taken this opportunity. You can guarantee the likes of Mantis, the likes of Damwon will be looking at this, especially Damwon thinking they've just lost the last game, but what a great opportunity FNATIC have lost as well, and it just helps them to stay in touch.
More breathing room for Mantis as well, who continue
Absolutely.
on their wins. Like, great stage currently being set up for them. And for Cyclops, maybe a shot at redemption. Their stage has not been going well. They win in the next game, then suddenly that top 4 fight is back on. Don't forget, this is only Playday 4, so really the halfway mark of the season was passed after the last game. It's going to be an interesting Playday 5 when we come into it on Friday as well.
Stig's just holding that bathroom angle for the time being. Again, just trying to cut off any potential rotations. Demic is playing in and out of there, so he just needs to be careful that he doesn't overextend himself into that line of sight. Lusty going to repel into Solarium, looking to get aggressive. Need to be careful. You could have yourself another team kill. We've already seen one so far. FNATIC certainly don't need any more now. Lusty is established inside of there. Demic is being forced back by Stigs, so the opportunity's there, but Aziz, he's going to free things up massively with a big kill onto Stigs there, ripping him off the bathroom window, and that is going to allow Demic to potentially push forward and just to hassle the flank of Lusty inside of Solarium there. This could be dangerous for FNATIC.
Gives a nod to Mag for the assist. I'm very sure about that one. It's not a good one to be losing, as they were just looking to get the angle set up as well and start pushing in from the top side. Alfama now essentially doing a lot of work solo pushing here towards West Main. Mag's coming in. You got Tex now off to the side as well, and sure enough, one of them does strike lucky. Tex finding Soldier into into the 4 versus 4. A good shot coming out of Alfama. Is this the round they needed? Wins yet another gunfight. A double for the Frenchman stepping in. What more can come of it? It's another kill for Mag. A 1v4. Plant going down. This should be the FNATIC round they're looking for. 4 left alive at the end, and a much better showing from FNATIC.
Certainly was, and it was absolutely what they needed. Alfama just taking charge in that round, getting in there, and as you say, just essentially solo pushing through the site and picking up kill after kill and just stripping Talon of operators one after another, and it was exactly what FNATIC needed. But there is still a long way for them to go. They need 4 more rounds back to back, and let's not forget that's just what they come off the back of. Talon able to get from round 4 to round 7 successfully, one after another, 4 consecutive. So FNATIC mentally, they've got to be drained, they've got to be a little bit beaten up at the minute, and whether they've got the gas in the tank to take them to 4 consecutive rounds following that one, so 5 in total, is another question. Nice kill there as Alfama just dropped back down behind the shield. His strafe taking him across the head, and then he really shouldn't have been winning that one, I don't think, but manages to make the SMG pay.
Well, the thing is, he wasn't going for the fight with Alfama. I think it was on Tex up to the north inside of Trophy. So when he kind of taken the fight against Tex and then back to where I think his brain just didn't quite register, and man had also swung him at stupidly close range. Just one of those that looks a bit weird, but you understand it when you look back at it that way, I suppose. Now mastering off his defense coming out for the side of Talon. It's not miles different to what we just saw a second ago, where FNATIC put the pressure on trophy control, getting inside of Solar, pushing through top floor, for example. Much the same, just this time round with less steps, Ace.
Absolutely that, and with 5 seconds gone, Stigs is getting up to the building very, very quickly, as we would expect for an Ash player. Going to get that Claymore down to begin with. Took a few shots to make sure he wasn't in line for getting peaked. Default camera, thank you, Stigs. He's going to take that one down, make sure that the information is limited on the side of Talon before they get themselves up onto the rappel. And Mac, he's going to be on the upside down rappel of double window. Always an important location if you're going to go for a solo side push.
Yeah, the sheer fact you got a couple hanging up north as well on the defence. You got one inside a bathroom behind a shield with a couple of ADSs there, and he sees the Jaeger walk past as well. But Mag not going to be able to find him. They must be aware at this point, surely, that this window is open, that there is someone playing on it, and they've got to be very, very careful. Just the one man left in bathroom here. If Mag holds this angle, they can pinch him out. A couple of nades inside there, or a push coming through. He might have to burn some utility, but Heady shouldn't be too much longer for this world. In fact, he's got, 2 ADSs in the shield, so it will require a bit of utility burn or a swing.
And the laser gate as well, just blocking those from potentially coming in unless they play off the bathroom window. But there could well potentially be a laser gate on there as well. I don't think there is from that angle. It was a very slim one from Stigs, but couldn't see any of the telltale glow from those red laser beams. Lusty holding a long angle from the top of the trophy stairs there, just inside. No, there is a laser gate on there, and that is big as Canos comes in with a double kill. Alfama and Lusty going by the wayside, and it's going to make it very difficult to deal with Heady inside of the bathtub now, and it really does feel like FNATIC is stacked up against it. And Des once again at the halfway mark. FNATIC 3 versus 5.
Can they do enough here to get it back over, or is this the end? Is this where Talon take them down and start to threaten what looked like a potential, guaranteed top 4 coming out for FNATIC? Starting to feel that way. See what they can do there with the 3 members still remaining. They've probably given up on trying to clear out this north side unless they try and really force it in now. But they spent 2 minutes trying to do this, and Mag will find Azzy. It's 1 coming back their way. But what about Heady? Out he comes as he's watching the window. Yes, he is, but Tex, he's always been ever so slightly off Stigs as well. Just like half a head away from actually hitting a headshot. It's really frustrating to watch.
That's it. It's an opportunity there, and Heady gets away with it and gets himself into a new position. Manages to come back, take the fight, and get the kill onto Tex. So it gets doubly worse for them. Now in comes that Zofia utility, but it's not really going to be enough to dislodge the man, because he can just hold his line of sight there and wait for the pixels to change, but he will be shot down, and we find ourselves suddenly in a 2 versus 2 as we get a little bit of a swing in the favour of FNATIC, but the diffuser is down, and it's a long way away. Des Canos is just going to play on top of it. I tell you now, he's going to see this round out. He needs to make sure he doesn't overexpose himself. There's absolutely no reason to here. He's waiting for the man to come in, gets the kill, nice and easy for Canos as he straces across, and that's going to be Heady finishing things off. And Talon, they They take the win almost unexpectedly against FNATIC there, but they take full advantage of the situation and put 3 points on the board.
I'd say massively unexpected, to be honest. Yeah, especially in that dominant a fashion as well. We knew Lusty coming back in would do some damage to FNATIC's playstyle, that it would change things around, but I didn't expect it to be that dominant. And the thing is, a lot of it I will put down on that one player, right? Canos has walked through a number of rounds there, picked up 2, 3 kills, won a number of gunfights that we were saying, you really shouldn't be winning that one, really. That should have been a fight going the other way. But again, these gunfights being taken with half a head being off for Tex or Stigs, it cost them massively in so many gunfights.
It really did, but ultimately for me, Canos there, he's really come out and grabbed that game by the scruff of the neck and said, this one's ours. And they spoke about opportunity on the desk beforehand, and they've just taken theirs.
I want to say he did the same back in day 2. It's not really a consistent player that always steps up and makes himself known, but a couple of times this stage so far has run away with games, and I wonder what that means for teams that look at facing off against Talon in future. Some points of worry for them? Very possibly. However, the many points of worry are growing for FNATIC, and I'm sure our analysts will love to have a conversation about that. So join us again in a couple of minutes after a break, and we'll see you then.